Habits, systems, and routines for success. This is probably the video that I've hyped up the most this week, just by recording like the other videos like 20 minutes ago. But anyways, for those of you that don't know, my name is Boyan. I run this channel and I teach SMMA, entrepreneurship, business mindset, anything related to that kind of field. So if that sounds like you, subscribe. I upload Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. UK time. So you'll definitely find something that I know you will find value in and enjoy. I don't sell any courses, any coaching programs, mentorship, anything like that at the moment. So yeah, feel free to subscribe and you can rest assured that you're not going to be sold anything. Let's get into it. So habits, systems, routines. If you watched yesterday's video on how to stay motivated, you'll know exactly why this is important. But let me just get into it. So why this is important is because humans at our core are very habitual creatures. And what that essentially means is being thrown, we like doing the same things over and over again, and being thrown off that routine really gives us like a load of anxiety, and it's just not a good place to be at. So for example, if you just look at your own life right now with your friends, are there like certain restaurants that you go to most of the time and mostly on the same days? There are, right? And if you don't do that, if you go to like a new pub or whatever, it does make you feel kind of uncomfortable. Just like how, if you're used to brushing your teeth every single day, you're gonna feel disgusting if you go to bed without brushing your teeth, right? So yeah, without focus and routine, you're gonna be distracted constantly. So for example, while I was actually scripting these videos, I started watching another video on YouTube because I wanted some inspiration from that video. I wanted to gain a few points because I remember watching it ages ago, and it was on a very similar topic as one of the topics discussed in this week's videos. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to get some inspiration for that to script this week's video. And just by me diverting my attention to the YouTube tab, I instinctively picked up my phone to reply to some DMs. And it's just like, I did that subconsciously, So like very small interruptions in routine and can massively impact your focus. And here's the thing, there's just something called like spiraling, where it's like, once you interrupt that routine, you can begin to spiral downwards if you don't handle the interruption in the correct manner. And what I mean by that is, for example, when I check the DMs, when I realized that, it took me like a good 5 minutes to realize like I'm on my phone, and I just put it away straight away. And it's about like really acknowledging like, okay, I am distracted. It's okay to be distracted. Let me just get my attention back to the work, which is why today it only took me 45-ish minutes to script 5 videos, and I'm recording these back to back now. Like I don't rest in between takes, and normally I only need like 1.5 takes of each video. And yeah, so it's just about really being focused and not letting the little distractions get to you, which is why routine, systems, and habits are really important. So if you habitually check your phone every single minute, once you stop doing that and you force yourself to not do it, you almost feel like a pull towards your phone. So now I've limited my phone screen time to less than an hour and a half a day. And most of the time, I just don't feel the need to pick up my phone. Like, I don't take my phone to the gym anymore, which really starts my day off on the right foot in terms of checking my phone. Like, I wake up, I check my emails, and that's it. Put my phone down, go gym, come back, and I'm straight in work mode. Well, I'm straight in morning routine mode and then work mode. Acknowledge this, like when you start to spiral, and just reset yourself. And when I say reset yourself, just take yourself back to the present moment. And one of the lessons that I learned in meditation is like, when you start letting thoughts distract you, what you should do is like visualize it as like a bubble, like of thought coming and going, but you just literally like really gently just like tap it to pop it, and then it's gone. So it's the same thing with like, if I just habitually picked up my phone, started checking DMs, it's like, oh, I acknowledge in myself like, Boyan is checking the phone. And then it's like, this is not the ideal behavior. Let me put the phone down and get back to what I was doing, which is why I was able to reset and focus on scripting the videos so quickly. So yeah, now I'm going to get into what I personally do in terms of systems, routines, and habits to stay focused and be productive. What I do is right now I have a very stringent morning routine. I'm going to implement a night routine slowly, but right now like night routines are kind of difficult for me just because like socially as like a 20-year-old, it's very hard to balance social life, friendships, family, and everything else with a business. So I need to find a way to kind of slowly introduce a night routine. But right now, my morning routine is I wake up 6 a.m. every single day, regardless of how late I went to bed, which tends to not be past 11:30 right now. So yeah, I ensure I get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night. But when I wake up 6 a.m., gym opens at 7. So what I do is I normally just like lie in bed thinking and literally just lost in my thought for about half an hour, then get dressed and then just make my way to the gym at 7. So from 7 to 8 I'm working out, and from 8 to 10:30ish, 11 even sometimes, I come back, I have a coffee, I shower, and then when I finish showering, yeah, I meditate, read for 1 hour. I read for 1 hour every single day as a part of my routine now as well, because it really helps calm my mind and just help me stay focused for the rest of the day as well. So after I read, that's when I start work. Now, sometimes, yes, I wake up late. Sometimes I end up waking up at 7 because, for example, something just, life gets to you and I sleep at 12, 1 o'clock. So I wake up at 7, 8 o'clock. But I make sure that the morning routine, even if I don't wake up on time, I'm still going to the gym, coming back, showering, meditating, and then reading for an hour before I start work. So sometimes my work day starts at like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, even very, very rarely past 11:30 though. But yeah, anyways, so I make sure I do that first before I even touch work, think about it, or even look at my day's schedule. But yeah, as I said earlier, I don't have a night routine at the moment. I personally, in my opinion, morning routines are more important than night routines. But here's an example of what a nice night routine would look like, and it's one that I'm hoping to implement in the next couple of weeks or so, maybe a week and a half even. So basically how it works is like you set your wake time and your sleep time at the same time every single night. So for example, I plan to from now on go to bed at 10 to ensure that 10 to 6 I'm getting 8 hours of sleep, and I will be able to plan around that. So for example, 2 hours before bed, I start blocking blue lights. I'm going to buy a blue light blocker. They're only like 20-ish pounds on Amazon. So I'm going to buy a blue light blocker, start blocking blue lights 2 hours prior before going to bed. Not eat anything past 7 o'clock, because ideally you should leave like 3 to 4 hour window of just not eating anything besides drinking water before you go to bed. And also do some light reading and no screens past 9 o'clock. Screens meaning laptop included as well. And yeah, that's basically going to be my night routine that I'm trying to integrate. But it is so hard because I don't check my phone really during the day that much. It's really hard to not, consume watch Netflix or whatever, because I still want that instant hit of dopamine. So I'm really trying to train myself out of it, but it is what it is. It takes time for this kind of stuff. But yeah, that's going to be the night routine I personally implement, and I know others that do it, and it works incredibly well for them, so it should work just as well for me. So now you might be wondering, okay, Boyan, we get it, you're really disciplined, you do all of this fancy BS shit to keep yourself on track, but how do you actually implement it? Because if you're like me, you would have tried to implement all of these like productivity hacks, routines, and it's just not worked out for you. And here's why: because there's 2 ways to go about it, right? The first way is the hard way, and it's the approach that 90% of people adopt, including myself. So how I do it is I think to myself Boyan, you're not a little bitch. You have so much discipline in you and you have so much willpower. Here's what you're going to do. You're just going to take all of these habits and routines and just, throw yourself into the deep end and implement every single one at the same time and think, and I'm just like, you're going to succeed, it's fine. You're just going to have to, really power through it and force yourself to do it for like 2 weeks, and you're going to have it in your system and it's going to feel natural to you. But that's not how it works, because, most of us don't have the willpower to force ourselves to do something for like 2 weeks in a row. It's just not really realistic in this in people from my generation. It definitely does work, but you're just going to have to fail so many times, and overall it's probably going to take longer than the second way, which I'm about to tell you, which on the surface level it's going to take longer time, But here's the thing, second way is the easier way in my opinion, and that's progressively overloading yourself into all of these systems, routines, and habits, and notice your life change slowly and slowly, as opposed to, just throwing yourself in the deep end, failing 5 times, and yeah. But here's the thing, the reason why people take the hard way, it's because we lack patience nowadays. Just because with social media and everything else, we want instant gratification, and we want, to change our lives in a matter of days as opposed to months. So how the second way works is, it's the easy way, and what I mean by that is, for example, you give yourself like a 30 to 60 day time period to implement all of these habits, and you just have to be consistent with the small things. So for example, maybe day 1 to 7, you just set a time that you go to sleep, and you go to sleep on time, you wake up on time. That's day 1 to 7, you just focus on doing that. Now day 7 to 14, you could slowly introduce maybe like, going to the gym in the mornings, and just getting a workout in before you start work every single day, and get some form of activity in before you start work. Now, this is day 7 to 14. You're still sleeping at the same time, waking up at the same time, but it's going to feel a lot less overwhelming. Like, you're going to feel a lot less restricted whilst you're doing this. So now that you have, sleeping on time, waking up on the same time, now you have going gym. Day 14 to 21, what you could do is, let's, try sprinkle some fasting in there. So like every day now you're fasting for 13 to 16 hours every single day, meaning you're not going to be eating 3 hours before bed anyway. So it's like 2 birds with 1 stone. So once you throw intermittent fasting in, it's like, wow, like, first I started getting enough sleep, and then I started going gym. Your energy levels are going like this, right? It's on a constant uptrend, meaning you can slowly squeeze more performance out of your body anyways. So for example, day 21 to 28, what you could do is like, start eating healthy and drinking more water for the 2 meals that you consume out of your day, because with intermittent fasting, it's quite hard to consume 3 calorically dense meals. So just start eating healthy maybe for those 2 meals, or maybe even 1 meal, and then progressively overload it to 2. When I say progressively overload, I mean like it's the same concept as in weightlifting. So, if you first start weightlifting, you probably can't squat 60 kilos. So it would be stupid of you to, just throw 100 on the bar without any warm up, and then just expect you to bang out 3 sets of 10 on 100, right? It's the same concept as like working out. You want to progressively overload yourself. So with that 30 to 60 days, if you stick to it and be consistent, you're going to see an incredible change in your energy levels, your work output, and just generally even your mental health. Because once you start eating better, your gut is going to start healing. And also once you start sleeping, your REM sleep is going to go up, and then you're just going to get less anxiety, less depression, and overall your mental health is going to just be on another level. And also because, with all of this extra energy, you're going to be able to work more. You're going to feel so much better about yourself, like even just as a human being, and you're going to actually feel like, you're progressing with your business, as opposed to, I want to reach 6 figures, and if I don't do a vertical jump to 6 figures, I'm going to be beat myself up over it and just give up. That's not how it works. You want to build this like slow increment, and like just make sure you're going upwards day by day, step by step, So yeah, that's the easy way to implement it. But obviously, as I said, to be honest, the easy way is actually harder, because you need to be consistent, but everyone just wants that instant gratification. And this consistency is what I'm really trying to take with my life to get a more balanced and more healthy lifestyle. So yeah, by compounding these healthy habits, you're really going to take your productivity, your work output to the next level. And if you've enjoyed this video, leave a like and a comment on what your current routine is. I would love to hear it. I respond to every single comment. Literally, if you just look at my past videos, no comment goes unanswered. So yeah. Anyways, if you've enjoyed, subscribe, and I will see you guys on tomorrow's video.